Now let me introduce you to the first framework that revolutionized my approach: energy as currency. This powerful concept will show you exactly how to prevent burnout by managing your most precious resource, not your time, but your energy. Energy as currency, your hidden bank account. It's crazy. We check our bank accounts daily, but never once check our energy balance. What if I told you that tracking where your mental and physical energy goes reveals shocking patterns that explain why you're always exhausted despite doing everything right? I discovered this the hard way when I finally decided to treat my energy with the same respect I give my finances. And let me tell you, the results were eye-opening. When I actually sat down and tracked my energy for a week, I was horrified. I had been hemorrhaging my most precious resource on things that weren't even important to me. Those endless quick meetings consumed my entire morning. Those just 5 minutes tasks multiplied until my whole day vanished. I was making terrible investments with my energy every single day and wondering why I felt bankrupt by Wednesday afternoon. This energy finance parallel isn't merely metaphorical. Neuroscience research confirms that our brains process energy expenditure similarly to financial decisions. A 2019 study in the Journal of Neuroscience found that identical neural pathways activate when deciding about effort as when making money choices. Our brains calculate an effort-to-reward ratio for every task we consider. Let me show you what my energy audit looked like 3 years ago. I created a simple grid with my energy levels throughout the day on one axis and the activities I was doing on the other. I discovered that I consistently spent my peak energy hours, 9 to 11 a.m., when my brain was firing on all cylinders, on responding to others' emails and sitting in status meetings where I barely spoke. Meanwhile, I attempted my most creative and strategic work at 4 p.m., when my brain was running on fumes. It resembled taking my financial bonus check and spending it on unused subscriptions while putting rent on a high-interest credit card. No financial advisor would recommend that strategy with money, so why apply it to something even more valuable: limited daily energy? This approach isn't about working less, though that might naturally happen. It's about strategic energy allocation. If you had $100 to invest daily, would you distribute it randomly to whoever asked? Or would you carefully consider the potential return on each investment? That's the energy as currency framework. Recognizing that your energy deserves the same careful allocation as your financial resources. Through research and personal experiments, I identified 3 major energy drains that ambitious people overlook. First is decision fatigue, which explains why Steve Jobs wore the same outfit daily. Each decision, no matter how small, taxes our mental energy. After hundreds of minor decisions, our ability to make good choices plummets. This explains why, after back-to-back meetings, you order takeout instead of cooking that planned healthy meal. The second drain is emotional labor, energy required to manage feelings and expressions at work. This particularly affects people in client-facing roles or toxic environments. Constantly masking true feelings, like pretending enthusiasm for a doomed project, creates compounding energy debt. The third drain was task switching. Studies show each time you switch tasks, checking email mid-report writing, it takes approximately 23 minutes to fully regain focus. I did this dozens of times daily, working constantly, but accomplishing little. My solution? I developed a simple energy tracking method that transformed my productivity. For 1 week, I set an hourly timer. When it rang, I noted what I was doing, my energy level, and whether the task felt energizing or draining. After 7 days, patterns emerged clearly. I identified when my energy peaked and crashed, which activities consistently drained me, and which ones actually replenished me. With this data, I restructured my day completely. I protected peak energy hours for creative work and strategic thinking. I grouped similar tasks to minimize task switching costs. I scheduled recovery periods before and after draining activities. I began declining energy-intensive commitments with minimal returns. The results were remarkable. Within a month, I doubled my productive output while working fewer hours by aligning with my natural energy rhythms instead of fighting them. It wasn't about working harder, but allocating smarter. The energy as currency framework consists of 3 core principles. First, identifying energy leaks. activities, people, and environments that drain you without adequate return, like withdrawals from your account. Second, making conscious energy investments, deliberately choosing where your resources go based on potential returns. Third, building energy reserves, creating practices that replenish your energy faster than you spend it. This approach succeeds by converting abstract daily energy into something concrete and measurable. Just as tracking expenses reveals financial patterns, monitoring energy expenditure uncovers invisible habits. A practical example. I discovered video calls drain me twice as much as in-person meetings. I started scheduling recovery time after Zoom sessions and converted certain recurring meetings to phone calls I could take while walking. This simple adjustment freed enough mental bandwidth to tackle a long-postponed creative project. I also identified certain people as energy vampires, those who leave you feeling marathon exhausted after brief interactions. Recognizing these encounters as actual withdrawals from my energy account helped me engage more intentionally with these individuals. The framework helped me realize that seemingly unproductive activities, afternoon walks, or hand-sketching ideas before execution, were actually valuable energy investments. Though appearing as wasted time, they generated substantial returns in creativity and mental clarity that exceeded their energy cost. Boundary redesign, the art of strategic no's. Those energy investments changed my productivity, but they kept getting hijacked by one thing: my complete inability to set boundaries. What I discovered next completely challenged my assumption that always being available was the path to success. In fact, research shows the exact opposite is true, and this revelation transformed my calendar and how people actually perceived my work. Think about the last time you set a boundary at work. Maybe you declined a meeting, stopped answering emails after 7 p.m., or pushed back on an unrealistic deadline. Did you feel a little pang of guilt? That uncomfortable feeling that you were somehow letting people down? I used to feel that all the time. I thought setting boundaries meant being difficult or uncooperative. I was convinced that my willingness to be available 24/7 was my competitive advantage. If someone needed me at 9 p.m. on a Friday, I'd be there. Weekend email? I'd respond within minutes. Last-minute request that required me to cancel personal plans? No problem. I wore this constant availability like a badge of honor. But here's what's fascinating. A study from the Harvard Business Review found that the highest performers aren't the ones who say yes to everything. They're actually the ones who set the most boundaries. They're just strategic about which ones they choose. When I first read that, I was skeptical. How could saying no possibly make me more successful? But the research was clear. Boundary setting directly linked to higher performance and stronger professional relationships. So I started looking more closely at the most respected people in my field. I noticed something I'd completely missed before. They weren't actually available all the time. They had very clear parameters around their time and energy. When they were in meetings, they were fully present. When they were off, they were truly off. And this shocked me. People didn't respect them less for it. They actually respected them more. Through my research, I identified 3 specific types of boundaries that most professionals never set, but absolutely should. Time boundaries define when you're available for work and when you're not. I was treating my schedule like a public park, open to anyone, at any hour. I started small by creating time containers, designated specific hours for specific activities. I blocked 9-11 a.m. as my deep work time. No meetings, no calls, no interruptions. I also established a firm workday end at 6:30 p.m. This simple change gave my days a protective structure they desperately needed. Expectation boundaries clarify what others can reasonably expect from you regarding turnaround time, availability, and deliverables. Without these, people naturally assume your fastest response time is your standard. I remember having to reset expectations with my boss when she added another urgent request while I was already overloaded. Instead of my usual, "I'll get it done somehow," I said, "I'm committed to delivering quality work on the Anderson project by Thursday as we discussed." Taking on the Stevens report now would mean either pushing the Anderson deadline to Monday or delivering lower quality work on both. Which would you prefer? Her response transformed our working relationship. Rather than disappointment, she appreciated the clarity. She made an informed decision based on reality, rather than assuming I could somehow bend the laws of physics. From then on, our conversations about deadlines became more transparent and realistic. Accessibility boundaries determine how and when people can reach you. These were game changers in our hyper-connected world where instant responses are expected around the clock. I implemented a notification detox, turning off non-essential alerts and setting up after-hours email autoresponders. I even removed email from my phone entirely. This sounds extreme, but I asked myself, is any work email truly so urgent it can't wait until I'm at my computer? For me, the answer was no. For genuine emergencies, people could call. Setting these boundaries created a professional fortress, not to keep people out, but to ensure what happened inside was valuable and deliberate. The research supports this approach. A study from the Journal of Occupational Health Psychology found that clear boundaries improve team performance by creating clarity and preventing resentment. Another study published in the Academy of Management Journal revealed that leaders who modeled healthy boundaries had more engaged and productive teams. When you respect your own boundaries, you implicitly respect others' boundaries too, creating a culture of mutual respect. The counterintuitive truth I discovered was that setting clear boundaries made people respect me more, not less. When I stopped being instantly available, people valued my time and input more highly. My words carried more weight in meetings. My opinions were sought more deliberately. My relationships improved because I brought my best self to interactions, rather than a depleted, resentful version secretly checking the clock. I was fully present when working and fully present when not. The boundary redesign method that transformed my work involved 3 steps: identify, communicate, and reinforce. First, I identified which boundaries would most impact my energy and productivity, asking what situations consistently drain me or create resentment. Next, I communicated these boundaries clearly and unapologetically, framing them as mutual benefits. To ensure I can give your projects my best thinking, I check email between 9 a.m. and 7 p.m. on weekdays. Finally, I reinforced these boundaries consistently. The hardest part. Every time I responded to a non-emergency email at 10 p.m., I taught people my boundary wasn't real. Healthy boundary setting for ambitious professionals isn't about building walls or being inflexible. It's about strategically protecting your most valuable resources, time, energy, and attention, communicated with confidence and clarity. Number 5.